Hey guys, what's going on? This is going to be an incredibly long video, and if you don't understand the time that you currently see, this is what we're going to be talking about. All of this. All of this. All of that. So if you're confused at why the video is so long, I'm going to go in depth into all of the balance changes, and I struggle to think about like what kind of tone I should set, and that basically stems from the idea of what I want to title my video. And so I was originally going to title this, let's talk about 50 units that you will never use. And then I was going to have like some sarcastic kind of tone when I talked about these. Or it was going to be like a straight, this is good, this is not good, this is bad, this is kind of okay, this is good, like that kind of style. I was going to title it like 23.0 changes, 23.0 balance changes, the good and the bad. I don't know. But I decided to title it, actually I'm still like creating this title, like things that you should feel like you need, or reasons for why this is important, or I wanted to give it like that kind of tone, because as much as I think that most of these cards that I'm going to talk about will not affect you as a player, all of these changes are all commons, epics, and rares. There are legendary changes, and we'll go into that as well. But like the common epics and rares that's going to take up most of this video time, I feel like most of you probably won't care about. And I think that you should. And I think that you should, specifically, not because that you're going to use it in your PvP deck or your tournament decks, or your co-op play decks, right? It's not because of that, but because the more I thought about when I would ever use like a priestess, because I haven't used priestess in a very long time. The more I thought about like when would I ever use a priestess, I thought about events like Mirror Match and Royal Trials. Maybe not so much Royal Trials until they fix it. And by fix it, I mean give Alchemist and Lightning Mage a cooldown. But like in terms of all of those game modes where they're specifically giving you decks, like Mirror Match. Mirror Match is the best example. But Mirror Match, Rush for Glory is another one where you have to pick cards. And this is going to affect those decisions, theoretically. Maybe it might not, but I mean, it might. Because if you are given Priestess and you don't understand how the new Priestess works, you're going to lose a match for no reason. In the same way that Gargoyle became like a Mirror Match deck, but then they changed Gargoyle. And so if you didn't understand how new Gargoyle works, where it either comes out as a stone gargoyle or a regular gargoyle and stays that way, because before it was every other merge rank, it becomes the other thing. And then they changed it to where a gargoyle that comes out when you summon in, it becomes either a stone gargoyle or a regular gargoyle. And if you don't understand how gargoyle works, specifically because you don't use it anymore and you don't care about it, you'll lose Mirror Match games, or you'll lose Rush for Glory games where they're forcing you to use this kind of deck, or in Rush for Glory's case, pick this kind of deck, right? And you can make less informed decisions if you don't understand how, like, oh, they buffed this thing, maybe it's better now. And so I think that's the main reason for why I think this video is important, more so than you're actually going to use these cards in PvP or anything. I think everybody's going to be very excited as soon as the update drops to try out all the cards, and I think I'm going to make a bunch of character spotlights probably, specifically because they're changing a lot of cards. I'm probably going to make a Reaper spotlight because Reaper is a completely different unit now. But let's go into this. So commons, epics, commons, rares, and epics. The Ascension is changed. I'm sure you've already have read this, listening to me talk. All of the talent ascensions are going to be much easier for new players. If you're an older player, you know what's funny? I specifically wasn't upgrading any of my talents on my my free-to-play account. And so I think after this, all of that not upgrading will have paid off, because I don't use, in my normal account, I don't use any of my talents for anything. I like Sharpshooter is probably the only one on Commons, Rares, and Epics. Sharpshooter, I think there might be another one, but it's not even in the forefront of my mind. Actually, you know what? I can just go through it. Because I have, every single time. I always have Rush for Glory. I always have Rush Royale open, and so that I can easily just switch back to it, so I don't have to go through this loading process. And apparently, if you spend too much time away from the screen, it resets itself and is like, no, you have to wait for the loading screen every single time. I always open it right before my video. And every single time I go back to it, it's always like, no, you just have to wait. Okay. I knew that it wasn't going to take too long. Rogue. Rogue is like the best thing, and it's going to get better. I use Rogue. I'm currently using Rogue right now. It's just such a fun deck to play. I guess Grindstone is another one that you could upgrade. Like the talents for. Reaper is going to be amazing. I don't think Portal Mage is good. Like Vampire is fine. But yeah, like that's pretty much it. Everything else, like Cold Mage, Hunter, Alchemist is fine. But yeah, for the most part, like I never really felt the need to upgrade any of those. On my free-to-play account, because I don't normally use them on my main account, and the only reason why I upgraded them on my main account was obviously to make content. But anyway, all of that is going to be much easier. It's going to be much easier to upgrade because it's at a lower ranking, so you can have them at less than sub 13 and get all the talents. And then it's also going to be easier because common units, it's only going to require gold as opposed to gold and cores. And then I don't know if they're reducing the core cost in the other ones, but yeah, I do know that that's specifically a thing. But yeah, I'm glad that I didn't upgrade any of that on my free-to-play account. So let's go into Cold Mage. The Blizzard talent is now available with the first Ascension. Also deals additional damage equal to Cold Mage's attack. The Cracking Ice is also available with the first Ascension. Blizzard and Cracking Ice used to be third, and now it's going to be first. That's interesting. Flash of Frost, the talent has been changed. When merging, the Cold Mage attack slowed monsters, stunning them for 1 second and dealing 1,000 damage. The damage increases with merge rank. What did Flash of Frost do before? This is why I specifically wanted to have them both open. 3 monsters are slowed by the max amount. The number of monsters increased based on the Cold Mage's merge rank. When the Cold Mage merges, a random unit on the field freezes for 6 seconds. That was the better one that everybody used. So I guess they're changing Flash of Frost so that maybe you'll use it. Deep Freeze and Fierce Cold are now on the third. Yeah, because that was the better talent. That was the reason why every 15 seconds the Cold Mage... You wouldn't use that one. You'd use Fierce Cold. Fierce Cold was the reason to run like Cold Mage with talents. The extra 5% on top of the max amount was crazy. And so them putting that on third is much better. It makes it feel much better. 7% chance on attack to affect the target with a blizzard, slowing monsters in the area. Frozen targets with health. below 30% take 20% more damage. It's interesting that they're making that go to the third talent, because that also feels like a max talent as well. Like maybe this would be third and then this would be like second or something. I feel like this one would be first, because I think that that one's the most useless. But they're just kind of like moving stuff around. When merging, the Cold Mage attacks slowed monsters, stunning them for 1 second, and the 1 second stun is essentially a robot stun. It's not a lot at all. Doing 1,000 damage, and then it increases with merge rank. That'll be fine, because you really only need the one Cold Mage on the field at any given time. So you could probably merge out all of your other Cold Mages and then deal like that amount of damage, which is fine. It's not like you're not using Cold Mage as a damage dealer. So them giving damage to to merging them doesn't really increase my want to merge them. I'm just gonna merge them anyway because I don't want them. Getting the damage boost is fine, and I suppose like when you're earlier in the game, when you're using Cold Mage, I guess that's fine. I don't think that that's gonna change the way that you use it all that much. It's better than what it was before, but I think that that's I don't know. I think it's still just okay. Thrower. The basic mechanic is improved. Repeated hits against the enemy will now inflict additional damage. Thrower is the worst unit in this game. I have wanted to make a video about this, and maybe I still will, but Thrower is the worst unit in this game, and the fact that they're trying to boost its damage by doing that is insanity. When you see like all of the other changes for everything else. Hunter, the initial damage increase goes from 98 to 100. You're not even going to notice that. Damage increase per level is now more efficient at 12.8% to 14.5%. You're not going to notice that. Damage increase for mana power up is now less efficient, 75 to 60. That just balances out the other thing. The Wild Talent. The talent is now available with the first ascension. Killing a boss or mini-boss not only summons a boar, but also grants a trophy that increases the boar's health by 4%. Wild Hunt. Wild Hunt is now the first talent? That's insanity. What's the max talent? The Large Prey and Wild Hunt are now going to be first talents. Wild Hunt and Large Prey. This is just shuffling all the way around. It does feel like hunting season. It does feel like hunting season would be the max talent. That's the thing that everybody used it for anyway. Where 2 hunters go up in merge rank and your trophies reset. Having a free level up is insanity. And the fact that it was the second talent was crazy. And that's why everybody was running it in tournament, the random tournament. I feel like that is going to be the change. I feel like hunting season is going to be the max talent. Am I correct? Hunting season, the talent is now available with the 4th ascension. Now the hunter's merge rank has a 20% chance to be increased when killing a boss or mini-boss. So it still works. It's just not based on trophies anymore. And instead, killing a boss or mini-boss not only summons a boar, but also grants a trophy that increases the boar's health by 4%. That's much worse. Yes, you summon a boar, but you're only doing it whenever you kill a boss or mini-boss. I suppose that will scale if you get it grants trophies that increases the boar's health by 4% whenever you kill a boss or mini-boss. This might be really good. And I say might be because it feels like every time you kill a boss or mini-boss, you're getting a stack. You're getting a trophy stack. And if those trophy stacks are 4% health, and it just keeps adding, over the course of the game, when you kill a boss late game, it's going to be like you demonologist them. If you can kill a boss quicker than they can, you're going to summon a boar and then they're going to have to kill that boar before they kill the boss. And it's just a static unit that just has the ability to just sit there and do nothing. Like, you can just leave it on the field and it'll keep gaining stacks. And if that's the case, I feel like you can use this as like an end game a killer if you can outlast your opponent. That's, I don't know, that sounds really good. The talent is now available with the first ascension. Now every trophy increases the unit's damage by 4%. After receiving 60 trophies, the bonus decreases to 1%. Now, something I've always said about common epics and rares that I've always found the problem to be with them, that they've addressed in this update, is that they don't have increasing damage. Where like a Bloom and Dash Blade Dancer, whenever you move a Blade Dancer, you get a stack. That stack increases your damage infinitely over the course of the game. Absorption of Evil increases over the course of the game. Dark Inquisitor stacks increase over the course of the game. And that's what puts legendaries far above commons, epics, and rares, because they have increasing damage in a game where monsters obtain increasing health. Something that they've addressed in this update that I've noticed is that they're giving increased damage over the course of the game. Not great, because they're still commons, rares, and epics, so they're not going to scale well. In the same way that a Blade Dancer doesn't scale quite as amazing as a Demon Hunter, which is why Demon Hunter is so good. But I like the fact that they gave commons, rares, and epics scalability, where they're giving them and now every trophy increases the unit's damage by 4%. After receiving 60 trophies, the bonus decreases to 1%. So from 4%, you get 4% per stack for 60 stacks. And then even after that, you're still gaining stacks, as opposed to Priestess in its current form, which, again, we'll talk about like later, but the Sisters in Faith ability, you get 40 per candle. The maximum number of candles can't exceed 80. So one of the problems was, okay, you get, increased damage, but after 80, you're gaining nothing. And so then it's just, that's your cap out. You have a max Priestess, you get 80 candles, that's your maximum amount of damage that you can deal with Priestess. And they are changing that to a percentage-based system, which is what all units or all legendary units are being given nowadays. And so I like the fact that they're training players to expect stacks of damage at a much earlier rate, as opposed to like, oh, well, if you get a Blade Dancer and you upgrade it to level 9, now you get to learn about stacking damage. Now you can have like a hunter that stacks damage. Again, it's not going to be as good as legendaries, and none of these commons, epics, and rares are. But the fact that it's doing this, it has this mechanic, I think is really good. Poaching and sudden shot are available with the second ascension. I guess they're the same. Buckshot, the area damage is increased 30 to 50%. Keen Eye, additional crit chances decreased from 12 to 10%. I don't think either of these were ever being used. Hunter, Buckshot, and Keen Eye, yeah. I think like these were both interchangeable. I never really felt the need to run specifically either. Because I was never really using it as a damage dealer. I was using it for its attack speed and with hunting season. But I think Wild Hunt is going to be amazing. Wild Hunt, like the two talents that you're now going to use this for are Wild Hunt and Large Prey. Being able to increase your damage is always a good thing. And then being able to kill a boss or mini boss to summon a boar late game is probably going to be amazing as well. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Rogue is Rogue and Reaper are my two most excited updates. They are buffing the heck out of Rogue. Damage at first level is increased from 40 to 70. plus 30 damage is insane. That's why I said, like, when they were like, initial damage increase, 98 to 100, I was like, that doesn't matter. 40 to 70 is crazy. Damage increase per level is now more efficient from 14 to 16%. Damage for mana power-up is increased 80 to 90. The fact that this is plus, plus, and plus, whereas a hunter is a plus, plus, and a minus, Rogue is going to be amazing. I already think that Rogue is really good right now. I think that it's the best common epic rare as a DPS unit. It's going to be crazy. Smoke Bomb, it's been changed. The smoke now shields all adjacent units from negative effects with a 30% chance. For rogues, the protection is 100%. Vigor Bomb, the talent has been improved. It now affects all units on the field, and the rogue gains double bonuses. Vigor Bomb is the thing that you use rogue for. I use Vigor Bomb, and then Giant Spike, and then Double Blow, and then Shinobi. Vigor Bomb to increase your attack speed is insanity. And the fact that you're going to gain double bonus, I already use this with the J deck. Because like Rogue, when you have a Shinobi on a J tile, and it starts activating all the adjacent ones, it was already like really fast. And that's why I thought it would be funny. And the fact that it's going to gain double bonuses every single time, 60%, it's crazy. I'm so excited. Giant Spike, the talent has improved. The duration is 6 to 10. And then Slug Spike, the duration is again 10 seconds. The damage increase is now more efficient from 30 to 50%. I feel like I use Giant Spike because I was always more afraid of bosses. The fact that this was 50%, but this was 30 is weird, and that's probably why they're doing 50 and 50. So you're doing 50% to all monsters except bosses, so just like mob monsters. I might actually switch to Slug Spikes. I find that the reason why this deck starts to lose late game, I just start losing to waves. I don't necessarily, I can usually melt down bosses like really quickly, but like towards the late game, I start to like die to waves. And the fact that this is going from 30 to 50 might be better. But yeah, I'm really excited for Rogue. Priestess is another big change. The talent is now, Gift of the Heavens, the talent is now available with the first ascension. And then it's Holy Water, which is a new talent. Gift of the Heavens, the tile has a 30% chance to be created after a priestess appears, but only up to twice every 20 seconds. The mana bonus for emerging while on the tile was increased 250 to 300. I never liked priestess as a tile maker, so I never used that talent. I feel like if you use priestess, you're probably going to use Holy Water. The new talent is available with First Ascension. When merging, the priestess tosses a bottle of holy water at monsters, decreasing their armor by 30% for 15 seconds. Decreasing, having a unit that is both a DPS unit as well as a support unit is pretty good. We'll talk about it soon, where the priestess can now increase its damage, quote unquote, infinitely. But it essentially is a DPS unit now. And being able to merge a priestess to decrease, like a banner lord, by 30% for 15 seconds, or a boss for 30%, for 15 seconds, being able to just immediately give a debuff to the field, is crazy. And that is the much better talent of the two. Prayer for 2, the talent is now available with the second ascension. The chance to receive double the amount of mana is increased from 15 to 20%. And then Morning Prayer, which is the one that most people would use, because you wanted the definitive abilities are always better than chance abilities. When you summon a priestess to the field, getting an automatic bonus is always better than when you merge these, something might happen or it might not happen. Because if it doesn't happen, it kind of feels like a wasted talent. So morning prayer is the one that most people used because the time that you need mana is early game, and them changing the mana whenever you summon a priestess to the field from 30 to 40 is going to be crazy early game. And so that's now going to be even better than it was before. Sisters in Faith, the candles now increase the damage by 16.5%. The bonus after receiving 100 candles is 1%. There's a part of me that thinks that the increase in damage, when they say 16.5%, is the total of 100. I don't know if that's true or if it's 16.5% per charge, which would be crazy. I trust that it can't be that, right? But then the opposite of that would be the cumulative of 100 uses of the priestess gives you 16.5%. Also sounds pretty terrible. I don't know either way. I mean, it sounds good, and I like that you're getting 1% after receiving 100 candles. But I don't know, like, the wording, how they did this wording is really weird. Power of Light, the talent, has been changed. The damage dealt by the priestess when one of them receives mana is now increased by 150% per rank. I think Power of Light... Power of Light was whenever you merge a priestess for 6 seconds, you're increasing your damage by 400% and you get a AoE attack. That was the one that everybody used. And they're changing it to something much worse, which is the damage dealt by the priestess when one of them receives mana is now increased by 150% per rank. I don't think I like that as much as I like Sisters in Faith, because having to merge out your priestesses to give a boost that is only equivalent to their level, I don't think is a good move. I'd rather add base damage to the priestess in general, so that they can kill the wave without you having to merge a priestess to kill the wave. In the same way that the reason why monk decks die is not because of the activation, it's because your base damage just starts to fall off. If you can't kill the wave without a monk activation, then you will just die. You will eventually just die. And if you can increase your base damage, I think that's better than having to rely on an activation. I think Sisters in Faith is the way that you're going to go here. And then Bolstered Faith, the talent has been improved. The speed bonus lasts longer from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. You're not going to notice that, but that's also a bonus. Sharpshooter, damage against bosses for mana power is increased from 30 to 50%. That's obviously just better. The only thing that anybody has ever used this for is Stun Shot. The talent has been changed. The number of targets is now increased every 2 merge ranks. This is much worse. So, the way that it currently works is, when you, so at 1, you stun 1 thing. At 2, you stun 2 things. At 3, you stun 3 things. It's a cumulative, merge rank. It's kind of like how they count Demon Hunter numbers. Sharpshooter numbers, that's how many things you're stunning. The number of targets is now increased every 2 merge ranks, means that at 1, you will get 1. At 3, you'll get 2, if I'm thinking about this right. And then at 5, you'll get 3. And then at 7, you'll get 4. I'm pretty sure that's how that's going to work, which is obviously much worse. Or is it? Yeah, because at 3, you're now getting 2. I think this is much worse, but they had to they had to balance it out in some way, because most people were just running just like like a deck with like Inquisitors and then like 2 sharpshooters, because with 2 sharpshooters at level 7, you're stunning 14 things. Now you'll stun 8 things, which is significantly worse. If you had 2 level 7 sharpshooters, you would stun 8 things, which is significantly worse than 14 things. Crazy shooting mode grants 50% area damage to the sharpshooter and activates against mini bosses for 4 seconds. That sounds like the same thing. Explosive rounds, the talent has been changed. When in the crazy shooting mode, the sharpshooter reduces enemy armor by 1% up to 50%. Explosive rounds. What was the one that there was one that had like a aim shots. No. Maybe I didn't know what most of these did. The sharpshooter reduces enemy armor by 1% up to 50%. Oh, no, never mind. I'm thinking Crystalmancer. The sharpshooter reduces enemy armor by 1% up to 50%. Part of me thinks that it's like Crystalmancer, where the more that it attacks the thing, the percentage goes up. So like the first attack goes 1% and then 2%, 3%, 4%, up to 50%. But if you have to attack something that much, I don't know how this works. Like, I get that it attacks quickly because of crazy shooting. But if it has to add up to 50%, I don't think that that's good. Because it'll be good against mini bosses because the time doesn't matter. But against a boss, you have to deal so much damage so quickly that to add up to that 50%, you're probably going to get Bedlam flipped. Like, if you have to add up to 50%, like, per attack, I don't know if it's quick enough. If it's quick enough, this might be a really good card. If it's not quick enough, I don't think it's good. Shrapnel, the talent has been changed. The sharpshooter now fires shrapnel when a boss or mini boss appears, and periodic damage from it is equal to 100% of the sharpshooter's attack. I like that you don't have to merge sharpshooters to activate this now, because that's what it was before. Again, static abilities are always better than activated abilities, and having to merge them to do something meant that you had 2 less sharpshooters. So I think that this is good. Rifle barrel and aim shot. The talents are now available with 3rd ascension and improved. They are now made to affect mini bosses as well, and the crit bonus from the aim shot is increased from 30 to 40. There are 2 things that people loved about sharpshooter. One of them is obviously stun shot. The other one is aim shot. Them changing aim shot to 40%, it makes it much better. I think that's a good change. Sentry, a unit that nobody uses and is in no event, and I haven't seen in a very long time. They're increasing it all across the board. The rate of damage increase for the unit's merge rank is now more efficient from 50 to 100%. Damage increase from 48 to 50. Again, that's still a plus. The rate of damage increase with unit is now smaller. That's definitely a negative. Damage increase with mana power up is now more efficient from 40 to 45%. Nobody ever used this. I'm waiting for this thing to get talents because it feels like a unit that should be good, and it is not. I don't really have anything to say about it. Grindstone, the damage per level, it goes from 13 to 15%. Damage with the mana power up goes from 50 to 40. I don't know if that's going to balance each other out, but that's a positive and a negative. And if it sounds like it would just balance itself out. The talent has been nerfed. Now the sparks deal 250 to 200%. That's a big change. And the talent, Fiery Sparks, has also been nerfed. Now the sparks deal from 10 to 8%. That's not that much of a change. Searing Sparks is the bigger change. I think I always use Fiery Sparks, and if that's the case, the Fiery Spark going from 10 to 8 is not that big of a nerf. If you were using Grindstone and you used Fiery Sparks, you're not really going to notice it. If you use Searing Sparks, you're definitely going to notice it. Ugh. Cold Elemental. Now it attacks the first target. Oh, this is one of the bigger changes. And I think mechanically, this is how it should have worked anyway. I'm actually going to pause this video. I'll be 1 second. Okay, so I didn't actually plan on doing this. I was just going to power through and talk about the rest of everything else. But now that we've gotten to epics, and I know that there are also legendaries, I'm actually going to use this as a halfway point, and do everything else in a part 2. I didn't plan on doing this. Normally I can just talk forever, but my throat is absolutely killing me. And I don't think I can continue like talking for another 40 minutes probably about literally just all of this. So I'm going to post this today, and then I'm going to probably do the other one tomorrow and then post it on like Sunday. I think that's going to be my plan. But yeah, there's so many changes, and I'm really excited to talk about Reaper in the epic side. That is an incredibly big change. I like that Crystalmancer is, I've never understood how Crystalmancer stack works, and this confirms how the stacks work, so that was also nice to know. But yeah, I'm going to talk about all of this, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow, but you'll probably see the video on Sunday. So until then, I will catch you guys.